The point of view, of course, that I'm going to speak from is what Joe Dominguez and I developed and I spoke about for many years in the book Your Money or Your Life. But that's sort of a ground of being. I want to come from that. Because in doing that work and talking to literally hundreds of thousands of people about their relationship with money, what I discovered is that there is a layer of money that is the sort of the cultural construct. It is money is a store of value, a means of exchange. Store of value is you save it for a future time. A means of exchange is that's how I meet my needs. I meet my needs through money. And there's the macro level, which is, the global finance, the World Bank, IMF, the monetary policy, the discount rate, things that terrify us and we have no control over and we actually don't understand, but we are inducted into caring about it. It's as though hearing every day about the Dow Jones going up and down means something to the majority of us who have nothing in the stock market. And even if we did get into the stock market, we're guaranteed pretty much losers because somebody else understands the system better. But so that's that level of macro agreement that seems to dominate our lives. And then there's the daily transactions, the earning and spending money, the going into debt. It's trying to make ends meet and somebody moves the other end. It's the complete fixation on money is how I'm going to meet my needs. Before there was money, people met their needs. We are here. Something happened before money. So people met their needs every day. And then there was this intervening brilliant innovation called money that allowed us to make exchanges that were not just direct exchanges, but exchanges among third parties and fourth parties. And now the money system is such that actually we can make exchanges with people all the way around the world. You buy things on the internet and something comes to your door and a little credit card thing goes out. And so we're really exchanging globally through this means of money. But what happens is, since we believe that money is the source of value really for us, and not only is it a means of exchange, not only is it something that we store up for our old age, but money actually has become a measure of ourselves. So how much are you worth is really a question about how much money you have. And even right now in the election, we're talking about candidates' fundraising capacities. In elections we talk about how much money, and actually the pot of money a candidate has, it tends to be an indicator of whether they're going to win because they can buy the airtime. So we are so inducted into monetary exchanges being the definition of economics that we lose sight of what I want to get to now, which is the microeconomics, which are the exchanges between people in community on a daily basis. Is also the skills that you develop, the capacities you develop to meet your own needs. Like microeconomics is being able to change the spark plugs in your car. Microeconomics is getting together with your neighborhood for a potluck. Microeconomics is all of these ways in which, through increasing our own value to ourselves, our own capacity to do things. Microeconomics is being able to bake a cake from scratch or sew something for yourself or exchange. In my community, we have wonderful clothing exchanges. Everybody gets, some of their stuff together. We have a big party and you have a whole new wardrobe. And those all of those economic exchanges are actually two qualities of wealth that disappear in our fixation on the money economy. One, wealth is self-development. And self-development can be spiritual capacity. Microeconomics could be a spacious enough awareness to be aware of what needs you have that can really be satisfied with money, and what needs you have that are really needs for reflection, rest, nourishment, water. How often do people need water and eat food, or need food and go to the mall, or it means it's even that spiritual development of self-awareness is a quality of that microeconomic capacity to meet your needs in ways that are appropriate to the needs themselves. I mean, so much of advertising really is an induction into this interpretation of yourself as only a financial being, so that the stories are all a little 10-second, 30-second, or 1-minute story of you are not enough, but with this product you shall be. So go out and buy the product. You see enough of that, and even if you resist the advertising, the notion that you will fill all of your essential needs through buying things is part of the trance, part of being mesmerized. And so what happens, especially now that we have the wealth gap, I mean, it's increasing wealth gap, people assess their well-being above the absolute level of survival. They assess their well-being by how well they're doing in comparison to their neighbors. I mean, or people who are like them, people in their church, people in their social class, people with their education. People don't begrudge a doctor making more than they do if the doctor has a graduate education. That's fair. It doesn't make them feel any less than. But when they see people just like them who have more than they do, that's when the little basket that they had, that right before they saw that person who had more, that little basket was a treasure. And then you see somebody who has more who's just like you, and that little basket is worthless. And it happens on television. Somebody did an analysis of the set of Roseanne and said that somebody of Roseanne's class could not afford the furniture and accoutrements that were on that set because designers had bought the stuff. So it's this whole subtle thing of assessing yourself in terms of the possessions and the bank accounts. And so what do you do when you're at the bottom? If you can't make ends meet because the wealthier people are able to bid up real estate and bid up everything in your community, well, the intelligent solution is, I'm going to go get a second job. I can get more money, and then I can have a decent life. But what do you sacrifice in the process of getting that money? You sacrifice your evenings. When you don't have a good relationship with your family because you spend no time together, then you are driven further into the money economy because the natural exchanges that happen between people who care about each other are diminished because the time for caring is going. So I'm just trying to point out that our fixation on money has drawn us in to a certain set of assumptions that actually blind us to sources of wealth, which are our own capacities and skills and our relationships, that are getting diminished by our fixation on money. And so how do you reverse that process? Because we all need a certain amount of money to survive. I mean, I'm not questioning that. And I, because I've lived frugally for so many years, have lots of strategies for having a fabulous life in terms of possessions and not spending as much money, which all has to do with relationship and trade and buying used and sharing. And there's just in terms of gardens, I don't have a big garden, but one day I realized, gardens, it doesn't have to be my garden for me to enjoy it. Not that I go out and steal my neighbor's vegetables, but just walking through my neighborhoods in utter gratitude to the beauty and the lushness that is created in my community. I mean, that basic gratitude for what is there, the nourishment and well-being, the breathing in and out, and the fact that air is there for me. I couldn't exist without it. That's a major commodity that I don't have to pay for. So just that basic gratitude, and then also cultivating the capacity to share. And part of the capacity to share is not only the willingness to give of yourself, but the willingness to recognize what other people want to give to you and actually accepting it, the humility to accept, health and well-being and actual, help from other people. So that's another piece of, the gratitude is a baseline of your personal wealth, your microeconomic wealth. The other is the basics of giving and receiving, which fundamentally is the embedded what would you call it? It's the embedded principle of the universe. The universe is in a constant process of exchange. And it's only at the level of the human that we've invented money to create these kinds of exchanges. At every other level in this universe, those exchanges are happening naturally out of mutuality and reciprocity. So I'm just encouraging. And then the other thing is tackle some things yourself. The more competent you feel in relation to your own material universe, the less you feel dominated by the need for money. So just to fill your basic needs. And I think just a basic appreciation for community, and developing some of those skills of building community, of listening carefully to what people say, of offering your attention. That's a big form of exchange, paying attention and receiving what people say. So I'm just pointing out that there's another whole level to money, and I wanted to share that today.